Today I want to talk about something I like to call slow practice. It's pretty obvious to me that everything is pushing us and steering us and guiding us and beguiling us to go fast. There are all of these pressures and carrots at the ends of sticks, for fast movement, for rapid, quantifiable productivity. My years going to the monasteries in the tradition of our teacher, the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, over and over again, I feel like I heard the monks and nuns teaching one thing to everyone, and it was to slow down, to slow down. They would compare the pace that we're living our normal lives out here in the life of the householder, in the full catastrophe, to a kind of a running, And now that I've kind of experienced both lifestyles, monastic life and lay life, I tend to agree. It's like we're all in a full-out sprint for some reason. And as you can imagine, this causes us no end of consternation and confusion. This can be crippling. And when I look at the thing that I care about the most, when I look at my mindfulness practice itself, I see the same energy. Right? I see myself wanting to rapidly, quote unquote, improve. I see myself wanting to master techniques rather than curiously exploring them, inviting many failures. Right? Those are two completely different things. I see myself still wanting somewhat desperately to overlay ideas of accomplishment onto my mindfulness practice. And so I'm imagining you're all doing some version of that as well. And how could we not be, right? How could we not be? My electricity bill is not qualitative, right? It's quantitative. The world is set up in this very linear, very ledgered way. But reality is not like that at all. When I take a step back, from the cultural mores and the, seeming important responsibilities of the life of a householder, making money, paying bills, making appointments, whatever it is. Even very important things like caring for my own health, making a doctor's appointment. I see that all of those still exist in what I like to call everyday reality. Not to say they're not real or less real than other things, but they're in a category. And we know as mindfulness practitioners that everyday reality is only part of the picture. Right? There's also ultimate reality. There's also an aspect to this that is not quantifiable at all. There's an aspect to this, somehow simultaneously infinite and expanding universe. We don't know anything. We just know that we get to participate in it, we get to observe it. But even with all of our science and all of our philosophy and all the various religions of the world, I think it's pretty safe to say that we're just taking our best guess at what ultimate reality is. We can feel sometimes like we're moving closer to it or further away from it. I've had that experience. But I don't pretend that there's some pot of gold at the end of the mindfulness rainbow that gives me some actual understanding of what's going on. I've long let that go. And I see that as the first way that we're rushing right, that we're not doing slow practice is that we take these very reasonable, very heartfelt goals, like to want to know how the world works, or why we're here, or what is true, or is there a God? Like we can take all of those very natural questions and sort of want to put them on our mindfulness practice and say like, okay, well, my mindfulness practice is going to answer this. It's going to fix this. It's going to change this. Just the way I can set my cushion and instead of opening my heart to the present moment for the 20 minutes I'll be seated in meditation, I can sit my cushion in a bad mood with a tense body and say, okay, great, 20 minutes from now I'll be calm and happy. But if you've tried that, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it has the opposite effect, right? Sometimes setting up that goal prevents me from being present with what's really happening now. And it almost keeps me stuck in a loop of negativity or strong emotion, unbeneficial truth. So I invite us to think about what it would look like if your practice was slow.